What's up, you guys? Welcome to Chat with Damien. Thank you for your time.
No problem at all.
So today we're gonna go through what's the most common questions you get asked. Okay?
Sounds good.
Let's go for the first one. So Damien, what are the top 3 ways that a buyer's agent can help and make a difference in someone who's looking to buy?
Mate, good question. I think the top 3 would be, obviously getting access to more stock and more property than you're getting access to. That's, I suppose, pre-market and off-market. The next way would definitely be being able to substantiate value on a property, so know what something's worth. And then I think obviously helping secure something as well. So knowing what the property's worth, and then obviously knowing how to negotiate in order to help secure something for sure.
Okay, so actually help them out to secure the property.
Yeah, right. Because it's one thing to get access to a lot of property, but it's another thing being able to buy it, right? So you need to know what type of what agent you're dealing with, what type of negotiation you need to play, and then obviously knowing that you can secure it within budget would be a big thing.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I recently received like a call from a client that they were angry because they were about to purchase something, and they did conveyancing and they did building a pest control, and the real estate agent give them a call and say, sorry, we just sold to someone else for an extra $300,000. Is that common in the...
Very common. We see it all the time, right? So that's the thing we talk about when it comes to like agents low price guiding. So essentially those people shouldn't have been at that property, right? Because obviously he was, I don't know how much he was guiding, but it was probably a little bit lower than what the market would have paid for that property, and that's the market showing you that it's $300,000 over, right? It's quite substantial. I mean, looking at comparable sales and things like that, and knowing how many buyers are in the market for that type of property is obviously a really big thing to be able to substantiate value to make sure that you're not wasting your time.
Okay, thanks for that. So question number 2. The average buy time for the average buyers out there is around 9 months. Okay? And I know for you it's kind of a little bit weird all that time. So how fast a buyer's agent are able to purchase a property for the client?
Yeah, look, at the moment our average buy time is about sort of 6 to 8 weeks. And that's just like, obviously we're buying property on a daily basis, so we're quite well versed in the whole process. So I'd say anywhere from sort of 6 to 8 weeks we can have something purchased.
6 to 8 weeks.
And that's just because obviously, we've got a lot of good relationships with the agents. We get access to things that we know we can buy that are in budget. So we're not going through that whole, like we just discussed, of the low price guide sort of thing. And we can get into doing a due diligence quite quickly. We have a lot of people work around us that help us get to a position to be able to make an offer really quick. So they can all help. And obviously, I suppose when you come to working with a buyer's agent, knowing what you want and being clear on the type of property in the area where you want to be can obviously help us, action it quite quickly.
So would you say like the action the average buyers take is different than a trained buyer's agent, of course?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So, now I know you mentioned this. How do you get around low price guiding, like from the agents? I get this question a lot. All people call us frustrated, like, oh, they tell us it's 1.2, they end up 1.5. Like, how do you get around that?
Look, I think it's about, like we just mentioned before, it's about being able to substantiate value on that property and know what it's worth. So then obviously you're not wasting your time, and obviously knowing, if you know that something down the road just recently sold, probably within the last 2 to 4 weeks at the max, so not looking at things that sold 3 to 4 months ago, because in such a hot market, that's irrelevant right now, right? Because the market's so hot, it's changing on a weekly or fortnightly basis. So knowing what's been selling around that, and then obviously knowing, if a property just recently was, just being bought for a certain level, knowing that those buyers from that property are now essentially going to be on this property. It's the same type of property, and they're probably going to have more money as well, right? Because their expectations are going up because they know the next property that comes along is going to be higher again, right? So knowing all those things, and obviously knowing the agent that's on it, can help us understand, whether we should be there or we shouldn't, if you're going to low price guide.
Okay. Mainly knowing the way the real estate agents operate, that can make a difference.
Absolutely, right? Because there's so many different agents.
Yeah.
And every agent has his own personality and likes to negotiate a different way, right?
Yeah.
So knowing what agent you're dealing with on a certain property, can be very beneficial.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, I know that guy in Double Bay, for example, he likes to go at auction. Let's not waste much time around him because we don't like to go at auction. Let's go with someone else. That's what it kind of...
Yeah, correct. Those type of things. And obviously, knowing how they actually negotiate too. So if you are going to negotiate with them, know they are they the type of person who's a little bit more transparent than somebody else, or just knowing that they're a bit easier to deal with and they're going to be straight shooters. Yeah.
Okay. Next one is regards time. Question number 4, which is how much time do you spend around the client brief?
On any one client, you mean, at a time?
Yeah, let's say I'm looking for a property, $6 million in Paddington, as an example. I would say on a weekly basis, how much time you spend on the search and finding the right property?
Probably about 20 to 30 hours a week, I'd say, is
20, 30 hours
what
a
you
week.
put towards, and obviously there's a big team here at Henderson, there's 18 to 20 people, so that gets shared across a number of different people, depending on whether it's the sourcing side or whatever, but anywhere up to sort of 20 to 30 hours definitely would be the sort of time frame that would be put into sort of people searching for sure.
I guess it's much more time than people spending a couple of hours in the weekend. There you go.
Yeah,
okay.
That's it.
Okay, question number 5. So you work in a market where there is a lot of competition in the west, eastern suburbs, and there are a lot of people that are actually willing to overpay consciously with no problem. So how do you make a difference, or how do you beat all the competition in this specific market?
Well, I think one thing is, getting in to a property quite early. So once that property's come up, that's ticking the boxes for your client, and you've got access to it, hopefully pre-market or even off-market, is being able to get in a position to make an offer and to move quite quickly, right? So that means making sure you can do the diligence quite quickly, look through strata or any building and pest reports, getting conveyances on board that can move quite quickly and review a contract in a couple of hours, like we have here, is going to all make us get in a position really quickly, like in a matter of hours, to be able to put an offer forward, right? So beating the market on all that stuff is definitely going to help you be able to secure something and beat the competition.
When you mention getting access earlier, means this is thanks to the networking?
Yeah, correct. So I suppose it comes down to agent relationships and things like that. But there's also, we use some in-house software, which can help us to put into somebody's brief into that software that can outline those properties that tick the boxes in certain areas, which can allow us to get on the ground and door knock, right? So in that case, there's no market on that property at all. So it's just basically us and the potential vendor having a conversation.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. And the final question is, what's the biggest reason to use a buyer's agent?
I think the biggest reason is, if you look at it like most other things in life, it's probably going to be the number one purchase, or financial purchase for somebody in their lifetime. So, why wouldn't you get help with that, right? So if you take your car to a mechanic because, obviously you want a professional to take care of it, I think it's the same with when you're purchasing a property, especially because it's such a big purchase. It's probably the number one financial purchase of anyone's life, right? So not getting help from somebody who works in that market on a daily basis and buys property on a daily basis and knows, the ins and outs of the property market, I think is, a bit of a mistake. And you definitely need somebody to buy your side in that big decision.
Yeah. Do you think, because a lot of people I see, they don't see short-term the return on investment, and just getting access earlier before all the masses arrive is going to give you an advantage?
Absolutely. And if you're looking at property as it's a long-term play, which is how you should look at property, and it's not about, buying it today and then selling it tomorrow. Then obviously the most important thing is getting into the market, right? So getting into the market at any time is going to make sure that, if you're holding it for the long term, is going to be a good call, right? You're always going to make money. Look at recent history, then properties have always gone up, right? They have their troughs and their peaks, but over time, it's essentially always gone up. So getting in the market is the most important thing.
Nice. Last question. I know it's not on the paper. This is one I get a lot of people ask regards. the market is too crazy right now. I think it's gonna go down. I want to wait. The market is gonna go down. It's gonna go up. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So a lot of people waiting for the perfect time, and I believe doesn't really exist. The perfect time. When is a good time to buy a house?
Like I just mentioned, if your strategy is for long term, then the perfect time is always when you can afford it, right? And like I wouldn't look at the peaks and troughs. I'd look at obviously getting in a position to get into the right property for the right price.
Just get in there.
But just get in is probably the most important thing, that's for sure. Yeah.
Get in there and enjoy the ride. Well, Damien, thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you for answering all the questions.
No problem, bro.
And I'll see you next time.